Okay, let's get this thing assembled. So we've got our reed here. I kind of just put everything together a second ago just to see how it all went because I couldn't really remember. Again, that's the reed. It plastic rides on that spring there, O-ring. It's supposed to seal it, I guess. So, like I said, we're gonna put gasket maker on this just to make sure that it seals. I feel like that's a good decision to do. And I use Moto Seal. Don't necessarily want to get it right on the O-rings. Oh God, can I get my hand in here? That's really awkward. End up bending that oiler lever. Everything about this one seems to be awkward. Probably got to do with the way I'm putting it together. I don't really have a system. Sometimes when you work on a lot of saws that are similar, you kind of know how they, you know, the little tricks. This one is like nothing I've ever really worked on, so it's a little messier to put together. All right. Moto Seal is distributed. Next step is to try and get things lined back up here and get this cap back on before I have Moto Seal everywhere. All right, so wires and stuff here. Oh my God. All right. Try and get that reed back into the right place. And I got the spark plug wire fished up through there. Keep an eye on things here. Where's that? Oh, where's that wire supposed to go? It's supposed to go around the other way, I think. I don't think I want it going that way. Where the hell is that? Get over here. I don't want gasket maker on that. Clean that off. That'll quickly cause problems that I don't want. Make sure that moves, and it does. That is easier to stick it up into there. And then drop that back down into the right place. Yeah, there we go. The eagle has landed. these screws started. That screw in here. Oh boy. Pliers or something, or needle nose pliers to drop this one down in, because that's a really awkward spot. That's a super awkward spot to get to. These are nice, these ratchet box end wrenches. Looks like a saw again. Just gotta get everything attached here again. So the next step, that goes up there, this one goes up there. Okay. We're almost there. Okay, reassembled. That was not the smoothest reassembly ever. I don't know if any of you caught that, but there's a little shroud that goes over the cylinder, and it has to go in underneath this whole rear handle assembly. You got to put it on first. I didn't notice it until I had everything all lined up, and pretty much everything, all these pins and everything else all assembled, is when I realized it. So I had to go take everything all apart and then put everything back together. Anyhow, everything's back together there now. I think I'm done with it for the day. We'll let all my sloppy moto seal, give it 12 hours, and then tomorrow we'll give it a start up and see what we got. Okay, that'll be the next video. Okay, get the saw put back together. Now let's see if we can get this thing to run. I haven't primed it or anything, so this could be, you know, something I edit to get rid of all the painful starting and tuning. But this is being started up straight from reassembly. There's a thin layer of two-stroke oil in the cylinder. That'll probably cause it to run really rich and probably not run that well off the hop, but we'll see. I would assume that I'll have to do some considerable tuning on the carburetor now that most of the air leaks are gone. I didn't go into the crankshaft seals. Maybe that was a mistake. We'll see how it goes though. Anyhow, let's see what we got. See if we get the thing to at least pump fuel from the fuel tank. That'll be the first start to see what we got here. Hopefully I didn't, paste over any critical impulse lines or anything like that with the moto seal between the crankcase and the intake block. Tried to be careful of that, so we'll see what we got here. Make sure we got it turned on. Yeah. Okay. Not a good start at all. Oh, we just fucking did a little fire there. Okay, so I could not get the saw to run. I could prime fuel into the top of the cylinder and get it to fire off, and then it wouldn't draw any fuel. So I knew I had a fuel delivery problem, which kind of surprised me because the saw ran before I took it apart, and then I put it together and then it won't run. So I don't know. There was a bunch of goo and stuff in here, like really nasty stuff. So I don't know if I sucked in some of the gasket maker, the Moto Seal, or if it just happened to be just nasty stuff in the bottom of the tank. I tried to rinse it out, but obviously there was still something either in the lines, whatever it was, it plugged it up really bad. So I ended up going into the fuel. I did not want to take this carburetor apart. I'll be honest, I did not want to take it apart because you take these things apart and you have a really good chance of ripping one of these gaskets. And the gaskets, you can buy them. I found a kit on eBay, but it's nearly $60 just to get the thing, here. Buy the kit and shipping. It'd be like $60, maybe even more than that, $70. So I really didn't want to go that route, take it apart. So I was really careful, and I was surprised. I don't know, maybe this thing was actually rebuilt at some point, because that top diaphragm there, it's still flexible. It's not crispy at all. The main pump diaphragm, it's still not bad. Like, it's not crispy. So I'm not going to have to buy a new kit, but I did have to be really careful removing that off of the carburetor. There was a couple little pieces that stuck, so I had to go around with a razor blade, make it nice and smooth again. And then, use PB Blaster to basically check all of the nozzles, make sure it was all cleared out. And kind of an interesting system. There's that primer. It pushes on the diaphragm and pumps fuel. So that's kind of cool. Interesting design here. I've never taken one of these apart. That's the main jet, the high jet. It's the low jet. Main nozzle. And there's the inlet lever. Needle and seat. And the inlet lever is interesting the way it sits in here, actually. There's the main nozzle. And there's actually like the spring, on most HL carburetors sits in the front here, but this one actually sits in the back. There's a little, knob it sits on in the back. I won't bother doing it because I'll probably lose that spring. And then this thing, pivots. It's got instead of having a little, catch on the front there, it's actually on the back. Close up of my grimy fingers there. So anyhow, kind of interesting. There doesn't seem to be any blockages. Pulled this thing off, cleared it all out. There was in here, the main filter bowl was really nasty. There was a bunch of grime and crud in there, and luckily I think that this did its job and it caught all the crap in here. I've got it soaking in acetone there now, So acetone on these parts to help dissolve any of this crap. I'm gonna go in and clean that gasket surface. The gasket for the fuel bowl, well, you can see there it's toast. I'll have to cut one. I have some cork here that I have. I'll cut a new one for that, unless I can find one. The fuel line is actually not bad. So this thing was taken apart, yeah, like not that long ago, I would say. Like that's still, man, I've rebuilt carburetors and fuel lines and stuff, and a year later they're crusty with Tygon. So yeah, this thing obviously hasn't done much since whoever had it before me was tinkering with it. Luckily, I have some information here. This is great. Models 53 to 59. HM is in here along with a bunch of other older models, so it's nice to have these references to look at the carburetor setup, just to kind of confirm where stuff goes. You know, rear handle assembly, engine assembly, HC. This is a great great book that I come across. Anywho, there's where we are. I'm cleaning the fuel system up. I'm gonna put it back together, and then hopefully this saw is gonna run better. We'll see.